Secrets are a dangerous thing. And in this video, we're going to discover the secret of why people call Bruce a bastard. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe and click on the like button and the notification button. Now let's get into it. A star fell to Earth, or should I call it a star? It was a meteor. A big chunk of kryptonite had landed on Earth, the only substance capable of killing Kryptonians for good. And one of the few people that saw it was Jimmy Olsen, who then informed Bruce. So Bruce had to go check it out. They didn't know it was kryptonite at that time, but anything that comes from the stars could be dangerous to their planet because of the whole prophecy saying something will come to the stars and end all life on Earth. Amanda Waller didn't want him to go. Obviously, he was one of their best warriors, but he had no choice. Asking the Queen for permission, she gave it. Also asking Harley to talk to the woman of the forest, the Queen of the forest. And we all know who that is, because right now he has to hurry. Other people would want that treasure. And first on the scene were the metal men. It had landed in their land and they were vigilant. But when they got there, they were not the first on the scene. Someone was waiting. So they sent Led to check it out, only to find out that this was no peasant, but the princess of the realm. The princess of the house of El, Zala herself. And when the leader tried to chase her away, claiming this was their land, she just stepped forth and plunged her hand through his chest. This was a Kryptonian. There was nothing any of you could do. Nothing. In a split second, all they saw was red and the crest of the house of El. It is a shame that our story starts up with death, but I told you that's the best way to start a story, with impact, with death. And our story continues in the land of the Amazons. They had just gotten word that the king's son was killed. They don't know by who. And we find out that the Kingdom of Storm has a strong alliance with the land of the Amazons. And he was coming to talk to Hippolyta. So they accepted. And when he came, he made a mistake. The mistake of setting foot on their island. This was still a nation of Amazons. And no man was supposed to set foot on it, even if he was a king. If not because he was a king, he would have lost his head. But thankfully, John Constantine de-escalated the situation and requested that the queen come on board, which she did. Even if her advisors told her not to, she wasn't scared. In power levels, the Kingdom of Storm is strong, yes, but they don't come close to the Amazons. And Amazon is the only race on this planet almost as strong as a Kryptonian. As soon as they got on board, the king expressed his sadness on the loss of his child. But the queen was not a child. She wasn't here to play, so she asked him point blank, "Did you kill the king? Did you kill Jor-El?" And he admitted it, yes. They were a threat, a big one, and all of us heard the prophecy. It had to be done. And now I see why it had to be done for real. Because they are animals. Imagine calling someone an animal when you struck their king first. He then went on to explain that he saw Zala killing his son himself with his own eyes. And as soon as he said this, Hippolyta couldn't believe what she heard. Neither could Diana. Diana stood up defending her girl. Zala would never do such a thing. But the king, filled with rage, stood up. "I saw her." But he must have forgotten this were Amazons. Regaining composure, he asked the queen, "We have an alliance. Will you stand by me when the time comes?" And the queen thought for a second, because their alliance has been long for centuries. And she admitted, "Yes, I will stand with your kingdom." And as soon as Diana heard this, she left. Like she was out of there. She wasn't leaving because it was a girl's family, no. She left because she didn't want to put Amazon lives at risk. If this was a war between the elves and the Kingdom of Storm, let both of them fight and let Amazon stay out of this. Her mother forbade her from leaving, but who could stop her? This was Diana. Grabbing a hold of a Pegasus, she wanted to explore herself and find out the truth. On his way back to the kingdom, Constantine asked the king, "Why alienate Diana? She's the strongest among them. We would need her for battle." But the king made it clear. He knows she is strong, but she's also a fan of the elves. It was a tactical move to remove a supporter of the elves from the Amazon army. But that was for naught, because right now he was not going to see any battle but this one. Standing before him was Zala-El, and she came for vengeance, but this time he was prepared. Supercharging his custom-made battleship, he unleashed lightning and it crashed into her and she fell into the sea. But this was a Kryptonian, for God's sake. She came out destroying his ship while the king ordered everyone to escape. He wasn't watching his back, and Zala plunged a wooden stake through it, telling him, "This is for my father." Then, simply flying away to mind her own business, a Kryptonian decimated the king in his own ship. Constantine was left with him while he was dying, and the king gave him one last command: "Support my daughter. She would need you in this time of need. Please, Constantine." And he said, okay, he would protect his daughter. But now, Bruce had finally arrived at the crash site of the meteor, and what he met were corpses of the metal men, decimated, crows picking on it. He got down from his horse and grabbed his sword, expecting a battle, but what he met was an empty crash site. The rock was gone, but one shroud was left, and as soon as he got close, he almost passed out. He was a half-breed after all, so the kryptonite would affect him as well. Alfred, being a smart man, threw the kryptonite away and checked on his master. At this moment, Bruce decided to tell Alfred the truth that he was half Kryptonian. He was a bastard for real. But the thing is, Alfred already knew. So the choice was made to tell Bruce the truth, and the whole truth. He was not a bastard. Grabbing a box and putting the kryptonite inside, he started telling his story. He was there on that day the Kryptonians came through. He was there when they were trying to rebuild their lives. He was there when they were thriving. They had made a comfortable life for themselves. They never wanted to be rulers. They were just happy to be safe. Until one night, when they felt a tremor from the earth. They thought the earth was dying, but it wasn't. PTSD, right? Taking flight, they realized that this was just a big volcano about to erupt and destroy a whole kingdom, killing everyone. So Zala-El, being a man of science, found a way to calculate the exact day, and he informed the advisor of the king. But the advisor of the king was Luthor himself, a prideful fool who thought he knew everything, so he burnt the letter, never informing the king. And on the day of the eruption, Zala-El came to the kingdom to ask why they weren't evacuated, and we find out that this prick never told his king. So Zala-El told his king himself that the volcano was about to erupt. The king was confused, but it was too late. The volcano erupted. Zala-El saw this happen, and his first goal was to protect his family, but his wife wouldn't let him. We have to save them. Luthor commanded them arrested, but she just walked through the guards. They were attacking her with sticks. She was a Kryptonian. Those would do nothing. She approached the king and queen and simply said, "I am a friend." And just to gain their trust, she gave them her child to watch over while she fixes everything and saves their kingdom. Her and her husband took off to save their kingdom. As everyone watched, they stopped the lava from approaching. They used their breath to cool the heat. They were worshipped as Luthor was cast out, but before he could leave, he saw something green glowing. And when he got close, he was caught in the blast. He was transformed. While Luthor went through his metamorphosis, the kingdom did as well. The elves were now best friends with the royalty, and on one sad, lonely night, a god laid with the mortal. It was common knowledge that Thomas Wayne could not father a child, and his time was only for his kingdom, and his wife was lonely. A mistake was made. The child was sired. When the king found out, he was furious, but he could do nothing. This was a Kryptonian child, a child born from his friend and his wife, a child he could not have himself. Hatred turned to love. He learned to love Bruce. He raised him as his own. He was thankful to Jor-El for giving him his son he could never have. He grew up with the Kryptonians. They were siblings until one day, on a trip, he lost his parents. An attack meant for the Kryptonians struck Thomas and Martha. We see the assailant wielding a Green Lantern ring was clearly the Joker, but this was also Lex Luthor. So 3 characters in one: Lex Luthor, Green Lantern, and the Joker. Jesus Christ, he was dangerous. As soon as Jor-El saw his best friend's corpse, he was filled with rage, giving chase to the Joker, but it was too late. The only person left alive was Martha and Bruce, but Martha was dying, so she gave one final decree. She wanted the Kryptonians to rule the nation because they knew that their son would never be accepted, being born from another man. He was a bastard through and through. So, Bruce Wayne became the Jon Snow, destined for the throne, but not knowing it. Lara accepted this promise that they would keep the throne for Bruce, but we know power absolutely corrupts. So I'm not sure that's going to happen, but we will see. Back in the present, Alfred told Bruce this story so Bruce could stop thinking of himself as an outsider, as a bastard. He is a king, and he will protect his family one way or another.